Good Monday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles, the camper, the dogs, the weather. Wow, yeah, unbelievable. Hey, good Sunday morning, or Monday morning there. Yeah, it's a Monday morning, right? I need more coffee, man. Hey, I hope everybody's having a great morning. It's freezing up here. I'm not lying. I mean, I'm sincere. I put my jeans back on because yesterday was so hot and humid. Oh my gosh. It's like, wow. This morning, it's like fall. It's cold. I have a long sleeve shirt on. And the adventures of the Ice Age TV compound. As everybody knows, if you watch my channel, the pool, oh my gosh, it was so hot. That pool was a project. If you watch my channel, I didn't finish up that pool actually till late Saturday afternoon just to get it ready for the Monday delivery. So today I've got 3 truckloads of water. And the running joke is that when you buy a pool, the pool is $1,200, but if you're on a well and you want to get your 15,000 gallons of water, that's $900. So it's just incredible on how the pool just about is the same price as the water. So the pool guy, I don't know what time they're coming yet, but it'll be 3 separate loads. That'll be an all-day project, really, and I need to be somewhere else. But anyways, the pools, the dogs, the weather, the adventures, the broke. And you know what's incredible? Yesterday, it's just incredible how you go out and buy things and you think, yeah, what's the big deal? I'm not going to open it up and use it yet. So down there at my mother-in-law's house, years ago, I cleaned up that whole basement, lower level, to make that my man cave. And when I did that, that lower level was really hot and it needed a lot of air movement. So I went out and bought some really nice pedestal fans to put in her basement and garage. And over time, I kind of felt like, well, I really don't need this extra fan. So I never put it together. So here's the box from Tractor Supply. Right over here, in that box, sat at my mother-in-law's house for at least a year, if not 2 years. I finally brought it home. And yesterday, when I was downloading all these videos, I gotta tell you what, the challenge of YouTube, it really is incredible the amount of time you as a creator will spend to try to make a living on YouTube. And that's the reason I thought to myself this morning, my thought was yesterday, the conversation would be broke, B-R-O-K-E, because this fan doesn't work correctly. It turns on, but then it turns off. So there's something wrong. I actually took apart internally and checked all the wiring, but it's so weird. It starts running, and then it's like it has some thermal type of heat sensor where it gets so hot it turns off. I think that's what it is, but I'm not real sure on that because I'm not the expert fan motor guy. So yesterday, if you watch my channel, I did a lot of video content with my 360 Insta camera right here, and this is very challenging. First of all, I didn't really know till after I made the videos that the lens had some debris in it, or it was smudged or whatever. So yesterday we rode the Harleys and really had a great day, and I mounted my 360 up here, and it is so much safer of me riding around, and I can actually get really good content. If you really watch my videos I made yesterday, you can so hear this exhaust note out of this motorcycle. It's so cool on how this does buffer the wind noise, and you really do get more of an in-tune feel like you're on the motorcycle. And this bike is so badass. This bike is so confident. If you really watch some of my videos that I made, short videos of me going down the back roads in this bike, it's just incredible. I didn't even really push it to its extreme. You got to be cautious on these back roads, getting a little crazy, but that bike is so much fun. But here's the thing. So yesterday, when you take this here, you take that content, and then you have to transfer it to your phone to capture the pictures and the video. So that was all being transferred to my iPhone. And wow, to say the least, to download each one of those videos and on actually my phone, it takes forever. It is so aggravating. So yesterday, I would say very conservative. I spent 3 hours yesterday here in my garage just transferring all the video to my phone to create YouTube video and Instagram video and Facebook video for me. So at the end of the day, probably 5 hours plus of time in my life, if you kind of factor in riding the motorcycles and the content that I created and then creating it for you to see, that was basically an 8-hour day. But while this was being downloaded, I got creative and I put my fan together and I did some other projects to kind of rearrange the shop to kind of get things a little bit in more order to a degree, but not totally. But it was hot as all get out. So the reason I put this fan up is it was just so humid. I had this fan, have all the fans running, and then I had this fan running, but it kept on breaking. So aggravating. So I thought to myself, we should have a conversation, the broke conversation, because I think it's so appropriate to what I'm reading more than ever. And I talk about all the time on my YouTube channel that the Gloomer Doomer guys really are going to be happy because it's happening. It really is. I read a whole article at like 2 a.m. Sunday morning about the lumber industry. The lumber industry is in dire straits. The lumber industry, some big lumber producers are filing bankruptcy. So the home building has turned off. It really is happening as we speak, that the dire straits are starting to play out more than ever in our economy. CDK is a software company that manages car dealerships, infrastructure of the maintenance, the sales leads, transactions to complete a car being sold, blah, blah, blah. If you're aware, back like on the 16th or 18th of June, that CDK, which has like 15,000 dealers tied to that software, that got hacked. And so the dealerships have been struggling to make their business work without having computers and going back to the good old days of having to handwrite tickets and find who wants to buy a car and who doesn't want to buy a car and all that stuff. And so interestingly enough, I actually was at the Dulles Dodge here, my local Dodge dealer, on Saturday to drop off my wife's Jeep to get it inspected. And I also got my brand new Colorado inspected as well. It's a Maryland truck, and they don't do Virginia inspections. So I was able to knock out 2 things on Saturday, which is pretty cool. And then my wife actually followed me over to the car wash, and she got her car cleaned, which that was really cool that she kind of got, she doesn't usually do that because that car gets so dirty. And I've got a monthly subscription to Flagship. We rarely use it, but she did that. So I was really productive. But when I was at the car dealership, sure enough, the story there was they were having a good month, so-called a good month. And when the CDK thing crashed, it really destroyed the progress of the month. And when I was at that dealership on Saturday, it was Saturday afternoon as well, every sales guy in that dealership was standing around with nothing to do. So, and they claim it's because the CDK. And I'm thinking, really? So you're telling me that the consumer that wants to come buy a car from you, they're not here because they can't go on the internet to do a lead? I mean, I really don't know. I'm not in the industry per se of selling cars, running dealerships, so I can't honestly tell you. But at the same time, it sure looks like they're in dire straits. And once again, it's the same old rhetoric that you hear from the YouTubers, is how the housing industry is in dire straits. Well, sure enough, I talked about it last week. Right now, there's close to 500,000 homes that have been built that are sitting in the market. New home construction. What's the number one thing that destroys the value of your used house? New homes. Because if there's a brand new home development up the road and the builders have to start discounting and get rid of them, it totally destroys the value of your home. Who hasn't been through this? I was talking to a dealership about their car sales. What are they selling? They're selling cheap stuff. People aren't buying the Highline stuff. They can't afford it. So what's the underlying message? It's that people are going broke. Car dealerships are going broke. Home builders are going broke. I mean, it's just incredible on how the main theme of Build Back Better should be Build Back Broke. I can honestly say that I think most people that really want to accept the reality will start saying, under Joe Biden's administration, he built back broke. He's bringing back the broke economy like never seen, but it's just taking time for that to transition where people really start to see it. Even to me, where I've even questioned, is it really going to play out? Is it really going to happen? And so at the car dealership, the biggest challenge they have is the manufacturers have overpriced all their ICE cars because they want them to fund the future electric vehicles. And so when you go in to buy a car these days and you have your nice used vehicle, basically what they're saying to you is, hey, you can buy that brand new car or truck that's $80,000, and the car that you bought just a year or two ago that you paid $80,000 for, it's worth $40,000. I mean, this is the facts. So that's what I'm hearing from the sales guys is everybody's car is basically worth half of what the new car is, even though the car they bought. So I'll give you an example. The brand new Grand Wagoneer, if I wanted that same vehicle today, it's basically about a $100,000 vehicle. Well, they're going to give me about 60 to 65 for that Grand Wagoneer. And Jeep and Dodge and Ram haven't gone to dire straits yet and taken 25 grand off that Grand Wagoneer. So you're still going to pay probably about 90 grand for that Grand Wagoneer, but it's like, but for why? Why am I going to take a huge loss just to buy a Grand Wagoneer? But that's the challenge that these salespeople say they have is the typical person wants to get a new car every few years. They're getting a huge punch in the face that the value of their, with the values they have don't match what they think they are, and they're dead in their tracks. So that just tells you one thing. Salespeople are going broke because they don't sell as many cars. The real estate industry, if you follow that, there was a major lawsuit and judgment against the National Realtors Association and so-called the future of the commission salespeople. And real estate has been restructured, and I don't know in great depths about that, but the perception is that you as a realtor are going to go broke because you're not going to get that fancy big commission like you could have before. But I think the biggest thing will be, I'm sure a lot of realtors, love to hear all realtors who watch my channel, they'll say, yeah, my sales are half of what they used to be or worse. So in so many ways, they're going broke. So you start going through the sectors that drive our economy, which is, as you know, the energy, which we haven't heard the broke conversations with the oil industry yet because they still are being able to maintain a good price in the barrel of oil because we're in wars. But the thing is, the wars that we're in are creating havoc to the world and are creating more people than ever to go broke. Can you even imagine if you're Ukrainian? Can you imagine if you're a Palestinian? For anybody out there, these people are going broke like never seen because the whole infrastructure of their countries are being obliterated. The Russians, I don't know. It seems like the Ukrainians are getting hit more than like the Israel people. It seems like the Palestinians. So we have a whole world of a population of people going broke just over there. And then us, we're funding these wars for Ukraine and Israel. And in so many ways, we're going broke. The illegal immigration that's coming to our country, you're hearing more than ever about the inner cities are sucking on, they're out of wind. They've lost so much money that even people are starting to protest in these cities like New York and Chicago, that the monies are being dried up because the illegals are creating the government to go broke. And that's a huge concern more than ever, is that these illegals coming to our country are going to run it into the ground on the taxpayers' dime because everything's being handed out, but not as much is being put back in. And once again, that there, you can argue and debate that, but the underlying message is, for the most part, our country's going broke because we're trying to solve the world's problems between wars, illegal immigration, the green agenda. The green agenda, when's the real story come to be where the green agenda is going broke? Well, Rivian just had a huge ton of influx of money from Volkswagen to keep them going. What's the Ocean? There's a company, Fisker or somebody, they just filed bankruptcy. Ford has deep pockets, but all you hear about is the losses that Ford has taken on under the EV agenda. And do they go broke? The stock, I know the stock was like $19. I think now it's like an $8 or $9 stock. Elon Musk, they talk about all the unsold Teslas. I mean, I don't know. Is it factual? Does Elon Musk right now have a huge challenge on his hand that in some ways Tesla is going to go broke because some of his followers realize he's the Donald Trump Jr. and they don't like him anymore and they don't want to buy his product and they'd rather buy an EV vehicle from a different manufacturer? I think that's huge. I think Elon Musk and the Tesla side has challenges. I think the Cybertruck has challenges. How many people went out and bought those things that may regret that as time goes on? I don't know. It's just possible. The motorcycle side, I don't know. I think the motorcycle side is still within reason. I'm not really hearing the broke stories. I think the Harley dealers definitely have a challenge. But it's interesting. I was out there at Chimberg Honda on Friday picking up my daughter's new cowl for her bike. And I picked up the rear license plate bracket relocation as well from Yashimura. And so when I was there, I said, how many units have you sold this month? And they said, we've actually had a good month. They've sold 80 units. I said, okay, let's play a game on somebody gets a free lunch on Friday and Saturday somebody gets a free dinner. So I said, how many units? I went down the list of the sales guys and the general manager there. And I said, okay, how many units were you selling Friday? So I said 6. One other guy, Tim, said 6. Everybody else was like 5, 8, 7. And so on Friday evening, my good friend Jack out there, Jack of all trades, he texted me, said we sold 6 units. I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. So technically I'm due a free lunch per se, right? So then on Saturday, they never reached out to me. It was like 7:30 in the evening. And I was like, where the hell is the numbers? So I said they'd sell 8 units on Saturday. And others like 9, 11, 7, 5, 6, whatever. Because there's like 6 people involved in all the thought process of what they would sell. And also they were thinking from Friday to Saturday, 2 guys were like, we'll sell 15 units. So I said 8. Well, sure enough, Saturday evening, Bill, the judge out there, he texted me after I texted him saying, what were the numbers? He said 8. So I got the chicken dinner. Winner, winner, winner. Chicken dinner, right? So I guess 14 units from Friday to Saturday, and I was right, which I think is pretty cool. And so there you go. So it's just pockets. I would love to hear others on my channel say, you know, my hometown multi-sport, multi-brand dealer, or my hometown Honda dealer, or my hometown Harley dealer, they're sucking wind and they're getting ready to go broke. But the thing is, I think so many people are going broke because of everything so expensive. And I think that's a driving thing that's starting to really play out more than ever, is that everybody's wallets are becoming emptier and emptier. And once again, I was down there in Florida, and what was the main theme of the DMV? It's the repossessions are through the roof. And so once again, what did that tell you? People are going broke. So it's interesting that we have this so-called election year on our doorstep. And the main underlining message you seem to hear more than ever in our country is everybody's going broke. Now, I'm sure some people will go, well, you're far-fetched on that. But at the same time, my daughter has a personal friend that works for a nonprofit organization right here locally in the DC area, 3,500 people, and they're being laid off. They're closing doors and they're laying off 3,500 people in September because they just don't get the donations. I mean, I'd love to hear more stories about this, about how many people know of the donations, you know, what are the church donations, what are the charity donations, what's going on as people go broke. And I mean, and it's like me, I told you this probably on Friday, my neighbor right across the way here, you can't see them, but they just put their house in the market for $990,000. It's a 3-acre lot. And I'm thinking, whoa, $1 million. $1 million. I mean, in all reality, it's to my advantage that house sells for $1 million, because all of a sudden I got a $1.5 to $2 million piece of property. Hey, $2 million? Would I probably move on? Probably would. If somebody gave me $2 million for my property right now, I'd be like, you know what? I've had my day and it's time to move on. So, but I can't see it. Think about that, $1 million home. Even if you have $500,000 to put down that home, with the escrow, your taxes, real estate, and the mortgage, $500,000, that's going to have to be a $7,000 a month obligation. That would be my guess of how much money you'd be paying per month, not including actually your life. So you'd have to make over $100,000 a year just to pay for the house. So if you have dual income people that are making $1.50 each, then it'll work. And in this area, that's not uncommon. But who comes to the table and pays that type of money for the property? But so it'd be very interesting to me to see if these crazy numbers of the houses that go up for sale in my area, does it continue to happen? So as a dealership, I was curious what the Hellcat market's doing, and it's really bad. So this is about a $70,000 to $72,000 trade value, probably worth $80,000. Now, would I let it go for $100,000? Yeah, I would. Should I advertise it for $100,000? And somebody comes in and probably gives me $90,000 for it. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I've told you before, of conversations. At some point I'm gonna have to start cutting loose of stuff. And so what do I cut loose? This thing just sits here all the time. It's a huge obligation. So on the motorcycle side, I mean, yeah, too much stuff. As I go broke on my YouTube channel, sharing with everybody all the cool things I have, and I've gone out of my way to create a really cool collection of cars and trucks and motorcycles to no avail to make really any money on the YouTube channel. And here's what's crazy with me bringing the word up broke this morning, and I'm not lying to you. There's a whole article written about people that are going broke on the YouTube community, and a lot of the bigger YouTuber car people, they have actually left YouTube. And so the gist of the article is some of these bigger YouTube people that have automotive big YouTube subscribers and have a lot of success, they've been bought out by a bigger media type of company that wants to try to make their channel even bigger. And so they come in and they basically take over your channel and they start managing and running it. And so what you're hearing from these incredibly successful YouTubers, they claim they've gone broke because now they're owned by a media company, and the media company is ruining their income because they bring so many hands to the pot to try to create content, and they even shove aside the true creators that made the channel successful, and they're saying that they really have but no choice but to leave the YouTube channel because they don't make any money anymore, because too much of the money is being sucked out by the investors and by now having way too many hands in the pot to try to create content. And if you really watch the YouTube community, it takes so much time and effort to really make an incredible staged movie-like type of YouTube content. Just like I told you yesterday, I'm not embellishing to you, but yesterday morning, my daughter and I rode our motorcycles up to the car meet. We left here about 9:30. We got up here about 10, and I did my walk around. And so between the video content, riding up, that was probably like 15 minutes. Then the car show was like probably it was a lame car show. There was nobody there. It was humid, hot. It rained in the morning. I think a lot of people were out of town, on vacation. But I just think that car show just isn't really the big go-to car show. So anyways, a conservative number. Then we ran off the road, only to turn back to meet my wife for lunch. And so we're a conservative number. That was 30 minutes of video time from 9:30 until close to noon. So then once we got done eating, I really wanted to ride more. So my daughter and I really wanted my daughter to ride her Harley Davidson. And so we went out and we did a really good ride. And so if you watch my channel, you'll see that I probably have about an hour and a half worth of 360 Instacamera video content here, which that's where it gets very challenging when you start downloading 5-minute, 4-minute, 3-minute videos onto this phone to create a movie through iMovie. And the last movie never even populated. So I have like 4 videos. The last one won't even go. So you didn't even see the end of the run of the day from yesterday. So if you factor in, there's at least 2 hours of just video content on that phone, and I had separate video content in this phone. So then we came back in, and as I told you, then I was in the shop downloading, transferring all that photos and video to my iPhone to be able to make videos. So you're really talking about conservative 5 hours. 5 hours worth of effort on my behalf yesterday just to bring and share with you our motorcycle time to really no avail. It's so aggravating as a YouTube creator that the guy that everybody's going to watch today is the guy out of Miami, Michael Bordeaux, that's going to walk around and he's going to tell you how everybody's going broke. You're going to go to Dan at I Allegedly and you're going to watch him tell you, hey, I got one for you today. That'll be his slang. Here's a good one for you. That's his slang. And he'll talk about the dire straits, which he talks about every day of his life for the last, now I know of for a fact, 3 years. And the real estate guys, same thing. And then you'll get the used car guys, same thing. Their content, they don't actually go and do what I do. I've gone out and I've bought really cool cars and trucks and motorcycles, and I share with you my fun factor of owning all these vehicles. That's why my good friend Joe for years preached to me, you'd have a great YouTube channel if you would share with everybody your antics of how you go out and buy cars and trucks and motorcycles, and then you can share your experiences with them. And it's incredible. For all that, it's to no avail. It's just, there's nothing there. There's no monies on my channel. And I know people get sick of hearing me talk about it, but the whole point is I'm talking about going broke. And so for me, in so many ways, I've gone broke making a YouTube channel just because I've been such a crazy guy to go out and buy so much stuff that really, sincerely, I really shouldn't have. And I was hoping, sincerely, that having such a collection of cars and such a really neat look to my property and my own personal experiences of all my different cars and motorcycles, it would radiate back to others that could, say to themselves, hey, do I get a Harley? Do I get a Honda? Do I buy a Honda Goldwing or do I buy a Harley Street Glide? Do I buy an Africa Twin or do I buy the Triumph 1200 Tiger? Do I buy the Africa Twin or do I buy the BMW adventure bike? You can just start going through. Do I buy the Triumph, Rocket, or do I get the Harley Davidson Breakout? And do I buy a Camaro Z28 last run, or do I do like this guy did? Do I buy a Dodge Challenger Hellcat because it's a whole value? Blah blah blah. And so I have, within hand's reach, so much stuff, so much content. But what I hear is it's the constant rhetoric for the so-called experts is, well, you need thumbnails. I've tried that. Well, you need to buy subscribers. I'm not really into that. I don't want to do that personally. The next guy out there is now pitching me on SEO, subscription, something. You get a lot of exposure on your channel by how you put in your wording, your title. I mean, I've done all this stuff. It doesn't change anything. Yeah, as I go broke, showing everybody all the stuff I bought that, I don't know. I mean, as the channel progresses, it'll be interesting to see with where I am financially as the summer progresses. It'll be interesting to see by late summer what isn't here anymore. And I can honestly tell you, the odds are that's going to play out. It's probably going to play out. The stuff's going to start disappearing here. Do I show the real videos of the repo trucks showing up and taking away my stuff? Just to try to get viewership, and then just to get to negative, then you draw in the negative content, the negative people. For a minute I thought that was the water truck. That's a septic truck. Don't need that today, even though you're full of shit, right? I hear you. So what starts to go away, what starts to stay, I don't know, because the YouTube channel is not going to save me from going broke. There's just no way. It's just too many people out there wanting to be the celebrity in the YouTube world, and I can tell you sincerely, if after over 4 years, good luck on your adventures. And once again, it's the conversation to me. I think it's a great conversation because I think that I think we're going to see this country go broke. I'm very concerned for the younger generation, and this is really truly too close to home for me. I really think that we're going to be in a war. I really do. I think this country is going to escape the election this fall. I think this country is going to escape the dire straits under this administration, where we're going to be in a confrontation, a direct war, because we're pushing our limit by just basically, putting our finger in other people's world, but we're on the sidelines. And so, truly, and then you hear about the draft. I mean, for the younger generation, I swear during that debate with Joe Biden, the other day. I swear when he had one of his last conversations, he said, we will be in war. And I don't hear anybody talking about this. It's just really eerie. And it's just beyond believable that people are going to want to continue to support where this country's going. I know people hate Donald Trump out there, and I'm not saying Donald Trump's going to fix it. I believe if Donald Trump actually came into office, he's going to be picking up the pieces. And then all the rhetoric will be about the Democratic Party will be, see, I told you, you put Donald Trump in office, and then really the true dynamics of our country, the government handing out so much money, it's gone broke, and people that relied on that money have gone broke. It'll start to really play out, but then it'll be, since Donald Trump's in office, that he's the reason the country went to the bottom. So how long can the media machine, how much longer can everything be held off where people truly are going broke and they can't pay their bills, but you don't know about it? And will this government then write rules that they can't kick you out of the house for a year? So you don't even know your neighbor doesn't pay for a house anymore. How do you know this government won't create that car companies can't take your car for 6 months, 9 months to a year because you can't make car payments anymore? Don't put it past you that this city administration wouldn't come out and write laws to protect citizens from being overrun from the burden of everything's so expensive. Because we all know that the green agenda is going to make you go broke because of all the higher costs for the renewable energy, the different lifestyle. The farmers have been hit big time. Fertilizer's been hit. I was asking the guy when I was up at the pool store getting a patch for my pool, I said, I bet you a bucket of chlorine that used to cost $100 is now $300. He said, yep, it's $300. Because people don't, the green agenda people don't want the frickin' fertilizer. They don't want that stuff. They want farmers to quit using it because it's toxic. It contaminates the land. It's bad for the environment. I mean, so you can go through the list. It cracks me up on how the higher prices of fuel and oil are all directly related to the war of Ukraine and Russia. Is anybody figuring this stuff out? And we've got a city administration where it's not going to stop. And for Zelensky, he's nervous because he knows if Trump comes in office, it's over. So does Zelensky finally raise his hand and go, you know what? This is a never-ending war. I can't find the people to continue to pay it for me, and I got to raise my hand and say Russia won. At some point, somebody has to win the game. And who's going to raise their hand? When do the Palestinians raise their hand? When does Israel raise their hand? But it's just, we're involved in all this, but where's the next, which we, once again, anybody watch my channel, you know as well as I do. To see what's played out in the last 4 years, you never in your wildest dreams would have ever imagined a pandemic shows up overnight and how this country radically was changed. You know how many people are broke from that? Oh, it's through the roof. And so all the things, the defund the police, the inner cities, it's incredible what's going on around us. But you know what? The media machine they're not going to do it. They're going to continue to make it look like it's okay. And you're still going to have the blue mind person versus the red minded person have totally different views of what's going on, because there's no doubt there's tons of people who are still very wealthy, doing very well because they've invested in the right stocks. And if it's a green agenda based or artificial intelligence based, then wow, here's a story with artificial intelligence and the robots on our doorstep. You know how many jobs are going to be eliminated? Apparently, Amazon has already laid off 100,000 people over the last few years due to the robots. So it didn't happen overnight, but if you look at Amazon, this is factual. They have installed 375,000 robots to replace 100,000 humans. So that's going to continue. There's no way that's going to stop of where the technology is going, and then artificial intelligence will overtake so many other people's positions of multitasking, doing things in offices, that now the computer will just overtake and take those positions. So, all right, that's it. I got to go. Long conversation. Kiefer loves to play at the ball. So share your comments. Love to hear from Charles. Love to hear from Roger and Mark and the help desk and Don. There's so many people out there that reach out my channel on a regular basis and comment, which I think is really cool. And I try to stay close to commenting back, or the like or love response on what you guys say. But I'd love to hear other people's perspectives and ideas and views. And for me, even though I say to myself, is it really happening? Is it really happening? So my neighbor's house will be really interesting, because if 2 months from now I'm talking about my neighbor's house still being for sale and it's 900 grand now, and then 3 months from now it's still for sale and it's 850, and then 4 months from now, 5 months from now, it's still for sale and it's 800, that'll start to tell a story. But in this area, there's not a ton of new construction per se in this area. In the new construction where I live over the hill, it's all $1 million, $1.5 million homes. So they're kind of isolated for the uniqueness of the area that this home is for sale. So it's not like the townhouse community and the traditional quarter-acre lot communities right around the corner from where I am. So that may be unique to where it does get good money. I hope it does, because it just makes my house worth more money. But here's the sad part: you're going to go broke once you buy it, when you're going to be paying $10,000 or $20,000 a year in real estate taxes. You got $1 million home. I'll tell you straight up, in this area here, that's going to be $12,000 a year in real estate taxes. And as time progresses, it'll be 30. I mean, wow. So you'll need to make close to 20 grand a year just to pay real estate taxes. Wow. Where is all this money coming from, people? Sincerely. I know it's the government area. And here's the danger: wars make a country rich. Yes, we're in a war, but the defense contractors, all the ammunition suppliers, all the military guys, these guys are making a bloody fortune off our government being in these wars. So we're a war machine. I don't think people realize our country right now is at war, in a war machine, more than ever. And I just don't think people really, the media just doesn't talk about it in that sense. When we got a guy named Joe Biden that one day looks like, here's the thing, the guy had an earpiece in his ear. I'm blown away nobody's challenging this. Joe Biden, do not debate, he had that look in his face because he was listening through his earpiece to be told what to say. He's not that sharp and dynamic to remember everything that goes on under his presidency. So the reason he had that blank stare on his face, because they were speaking in his ear of what to respond to Donald Trump's remarks. Or when the CNN host, one lady had to be pointing her finger over to Jack, whatever his name is, to Jack Trooper, whatever the hell, I don't even know the guy's name. I don't watch that stuff. She's pointing over to try to get Joe to realize, listen to him, not me. Quit looking at me. But she's probably oblivious to the fact that he has this blank stare on his face because he's being told what to say through his earpiece. No doubt in my mind. And that's why he had that totally befuddled look on his face, is because he was listening to somebody else talk to him. Have you ever seen that before, when somebody's on a cell phone and you get in front of them and they're listening to somebody and they just have that blank stare in their face? That's what that was. And then to see him in North Carolina the following day, you have to say, is he even the same guy? It doesn't even look like the same guy. How revved up he is. I mean, what did they give him that morning to get him to be a whole different looking type of guy? Some people think he's got a body double. I don't know. Who does? All right, everybody, that's it. Broke conversations. Do you have a broke story? I do. I've gone broke twice in my lifetime. I have. Is there going to be a third? It's always possible. Yes, if you watch my channel, if I keep on showing everything, which do I? Do I eventually it just isn't worth it. I'll just show you videos of me riding motorcycles and driving cars, and that's it. I don't know. All right, everybody, that's it. I know that. So everybody have a great day. I'm waiting for the water. Yeah, I'm going to sell some water. Yeah, the guys selling me water at $900 worth of water. What'd they pay for it? $100? I don't know. So God bless. Have a great day.